Welcome once again to J Lowe Artist YouTube channel. Today we'll be using white pencils on black paper. We'll be talking about something called chiaroscuro. Chiaroscuro is Italian, it means light and dark, and it's one of the funnest forms of drawing just because it's so dramatic and it's different than the way we usually draw. Let's try some chiaroscuro. But we're going to start out with our white charcoal. First thing we got to do is figure out where we want everything. I cannot see all of his head, so there's no reason to draw that entire surface of where his head goes. So I'm just going to block in the light areas. I want to leave enough space for his hair, and maybe I want to change this a little bit. Maybe I want this to be the quintessential vampire with the little widow's peak, kind of like Bela Lugosi was. You probably don't know who that is, but so maybe I'm just going to come in and say, okay, there's going to be a little hair up in here. Just zigzag through it and just kind of figure out where I want things to go. If this is not perfectly in the right place, that's okay. There's his forehead. Here's his eye. There's his cheek. There's his nose. I'm just looking at those light areas. A little bit more of the cheek down here. His mouth is open, so it's going to come down a little further. Oh, do you want to put that little jewel neck thing that's right there? It looks like a bolo tie. It's probably a brooch or something for a scarf, but it's a little distracting, so I may just leave that out completely. And do you want to put in his teeth? Just block it in. If it's not in the right place, we can always change it. There is a little bit of this on the other side that you can see. You can kind of maybe put just a little bit of that in there. And I might extend this out just a little bit, make it a little wider over there. This is terrible composition, by the way. Smack dab in the middle. But that's okay. We're just practicing technique here. We're just trying to figure out what chiaroscuro is. So as you go, just go ahead and start putting in some things just to help you figure out where stuff is. Here's the corner of his eye. Might put a little bit of that in there. I can't see the rest of his eye, so why put that in there? Just draw what you see. Little shape, a little wrinkle right there where his nose kind of comes up over there. This is also a very fast way of drawing. It's also very dramatic. That's the key here. Drama. This is a great time to do it because Halloween is kind of that period of time when you kind of pay attention to those very dramatic, moody kinds of things. I love this vein that's coming down his forehead. That's kind of fun. Also, I'm going to give him a little bit of a widow's peak, which means I'm going to arch this just a little bit more than what's in the scrap. You're never stuck to your scrap. You can always change it. And like most things, you got to kind of stop thinking of this as a face. It's not a face. It's just light and dark. And the dark is already given you. It's already there for you. All you need is the light part. So just looking at all the shapes of light and dark. Let's see if I can blend this a little bit. Just to soften it up a little bit here and there. I also want to pick up some more charcoal if I can. Some of these areas are very, very light. So maybe I could take some of that very light bit of charcoal and move it over there. Just a little bit. Not a lot of charcoal there to blend. I kind of end up with a kind of a ghost image. Not too much space up there. I'm going to drop this eye down just a little bit. Not concerned about all the little details quite yet. Just getting everything placed where it's supposed to go. So when you get those little shapes in, you kind of want to look back on it and go, okay, is this about right? Are things in about the right place? This one is definitely over too far. When you're ready, then start putting in some really light areas. And you can start wherever you want. It's probably easier to start up at his forehead and move our way down. But again, it's kind of up to you where you decide to put it. If there's a wrinkle, just leave it out. So there's some wrinkles across his forehead. I'm just going to leave those out. Or you could take your kneaded eraser and come back in and pull those out from where we blended them before, so you could pull those out. So I'm just going to now try to pull out some of the little lighter areas. I'm adding a little bit of pressure, not a ton of pressure because it's not really bright. We're going to use our Prismacolor to get the brightest areas, and there's not very many. Just a couple of those little areas. I like how his eye just disappears. There's very little to see in that eye. It's almost like you can see his eyes when you really can't. It's another thing about chiaroscuro is you've got to imagine so much. Maybe that's what makes it kind of spooky. It's your imagination. Those little wrinkles around his eyes, you just leave them out. And eventually they'll look like little wrinkles. I always like to see what everybody's wearing. I mean, there's so much effort that goes into some of these costumes, and to just see them for less than a minute, that's, where's the fun in that? I always like to have like a little get together, something that you could wear your costume to, and kind of show it off. Isn't that what it's all about? So you've got to decide, how much pressure do you add? How much do I see? How much do I want to see? Because you can always change it. You can always add to it. What's he need? I feel like he needs something like pointy ears or something. I don't know. You feel like he needs something? If I can pick up enough charcoal with this cotton swab, then I can do a whole lot more drawing with that. Sometimes you just need very subtle, soft things. Still paying attention to form, but we're just looking at the lightest areas. The dark ones take care of themselves. Yeah, I can't see this, but it feels like I need it. Just a little bit of grayness on this side. Just a little bit there. Maybe some reflected light or something. I just feel like I need something just a little bit there to give that whole widow's peak kind of thing some form. There's quite a bit of light over here. I can do that all with my cotton swab. But I need some charcoal on my cotton swab there. I suppose we could always take a piece of like tracing paper, lay it down, put some white charcoal on there, pick it up with our cotton swab. Then we could put that over there. Maybe that's what we need to do. Same thing. I think maybe I need just a little bit for his nose over there on this side. Just a little, just enough. I mean, if he's got that much light here, he might have a little bit on his nose. And he even might have some of his teeth showing. I mean, I can't see him here, but I might have a little tooth over here, just a little bit of one. Like I say, you're never just stuck to your scrap. You can't see it. You may want to add to it. Just a little bit. You don't need much. And if you get too much in there, you can say, well, okay, that's too much. I'm going to take a little bit out. Take it out. Your kneaded eraser. I don't know. I just feel like I need something over there. On his bridge of his nose, you might need a little bit of something over there. Carry that through. Of course, if you don't like it, you can always take it out. I don't see the inside of his eye either, but I feel like I kind of need something in there too. So again, it's kind of up to you guys. Sometimes what you want to do is take the picture and it's on your computer. You can take out some of the contrast to it. See if you can see other areas that you think, oh yeah, that's going to be nicer to put in there. I think I'm going to bring some of this down around up that cheek just a little bit. I mean, I still want the viewer to imagine that in there, but sometimes just a little bit goes a long way. I like that little spot in his eye looking a little brighter too. This is where you get into that point where you can actually make your drawing look better than the photograph, because the camera can't pick up all that stuff. I'm going to try an ear. Just try it. If it doesn't work out, no big deal. So usually ears are between the tip of the nose is the earlobe, and the top of the eyebrow is where the ear goes, but he's kind of looking down. So you might have a little bit more of an ear kind of coming up here. So I'm just going to try this. If I don't like it, I can get rid of it. But I kind of like the whole idea of the ear. And this one over here, I might have just a little corner of it up here. I think it kind of broadens it out and it makes him look a little more demonic. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of that in there. Just a little bit. I don't know. Tell me what you think. You like the ear? Just enough that the viewer knows what it is without being too overpowering. Here we are. We're just kind of layering it in. We start out a little bit at a time, and then you just keep layering it until it's the way you want it. Not sure what to do with his hair. I might just kind of leave it kind of like that. Maybe just put a few little spots of light in it. One of the last things you want to do is use your Prismacolor to get some of those areas that are really, really, really light. Prismacolor is not going to blend. So remember, it's the last thing you do, and you're just going to go over the top of just little spots here and there. You don't need it everywhere. So here's where his tooth, the very tip of his tooth there. And see how that just made that pop? Prismacolor is quite a bit more opaque than the charcoal is. You could do the same thing with charcoal. You just spray it and then go back over it and spray it and go back over it. But the Prismacolor is a little easier. I've kind of probably made him a little more craggly, like especially around this. But the guy's 1,000 years old, you know. He's going to get kind of craggly, don't you think? Prismacolor that's going to give you that really strong white contrast. And along with the charcoal, it's going to give you a really fun kind of a dramatic effect. Suppose if we needed something down his neck, you could do something down there too. If you want to put in a little brooch, I'm going to move that brooch over though. I don't like it off this side. I don't know. You guys can make up your own mind. What do you think? The brooch look better in the middle? What if I added a collar that kind of came up in there? Very, very lightly. Because doesn't the classic vampire have a big collared cloak on or something? Good place for a signature. You could have one over in the darkness over there, or you could bring it over there. I think I'm going to put mine over there just for fun. Hopefully you had a fun experience today and learned something maybe, and even tried something that you've never done before. And hopefully somewhere along the way it's made your life a little bit better, because art makes life better.